Hey guys, and welcome back to another video. In this video, well, I'm confused. There's a little bit that I'm confused about in terms of team structure, even though I've done all of the videos going through this and that and everything, and I think just trying to not overreact, but also react to a certain extent to the practice games it's hard, and so it's almost at the point where I just said I'm just going to go back to a blank canvas, because with the especially the rookies, it's been so hard to figure out who's even get a gauge on the numbers in each line, not even to the extent of who's going to be playing. Like in the back line, I don't think Travali is going to play, but I don't think Shoalmaker is going to play anymore, so you have to restructure there. Maybe that's going Mills or Perryman D5, but then you have Mills not even playing because he's managing plantar fascia, I think it is, which I'm not too worried about, to be honest, but still some people are off him because of that. And then you've got just a mid-price of madness, and you don't really want to go mid-price of madness because you know you need those top-end scores. And then so it's a very, very confusing thing. So let's just go through here, and I forgot to change it over, but anyway, here you go. So just running through this team at the moment, and this will definitely change. And so this is sort of the team that I had. Well, I changed it a little bit, and what do I've got? 17k left, but I've got a beefy forward line, I would think. So this is sort of my team reaction to a certain extent, a confusion sort of state after the practice games, the unofficial practice games, I would say. I don't know if we have anyone playing today, but it is what it is. So Sheasel stayed there. He looks good in that role. It might be 105, 110 role, but still he's the only one on the early buy, not on the early buy in the back line that I'm confident does do similar to what he's going to do anyway. And he'll be there each week, and there's definitely some games that I feel like he could be a captaincy option. So there's that. And there's not really anyone that I'm too confident in the back line anyway with these early buy players that'll score well regularly. You got Whitfield who, he probably will, but he's probably the only one. Zorko, I feel like, has a role change coming with Coleman. Flanders has been dealing with the back issue. Nick Martin's moving into a similar role as Sheasel, but he's not Sheasel. Luke Ryan, we saw tail off at the back end. Sinclair's injured at the moment, pressing for round one. And Wangani Malira is inconsistent and is a sub 100 scorer anyway. And then you've got Jordan Clark, who very similar statistics to Luke Ryan. And then probably Max Holmes is another one that I've considered if I was to go above Mills in that range, but then I'd have to probably combine with Short, and I just don't want to do that at the moment. So there's a lot to still consider with everything. But if we look at what other people are doing in this backline, Toby Travali at the moment 46% owned. That'll be dependent on obviously round one, but I think that'll change quite dramatically. Colin McKercher I don't like either. Sardell Hooley will just hope gets a game, but that really depends. And then you can see just the indecision there. Matty Roberts didn't have the best practice game. It was Ollie Florent, and I just want to look at Florent's ownership because I want to see if people are overreacting. At least they're not overreacting to just a score there from Ollie Florent, as he had a good game. But still a lot of high ownership from players that aren't going to play early on. Bice shouldn't be playing. Gibcus won't be. Coleman won't be as well, and we don't expect, at the moment, Travali to be playing. And then if you look at that in terms of the rookies, Bo Allen's probably the only fieldable one. We don't even know if Leake's going to be playing, so I'm just confused how we run that there. And then, we're going to have to go really, really slim on the back line, so that's why I'm really trying to find a way to upgrade that line quickly, basically. So, it's an interesting conundrum there, but I'm pretty happy with the D1 through 5, it's just, D1 through 6, I'm pretty set on, I would say, unless Mills pulls up injured. It's just this D7, D8, which rookies do we get? As, I haven't really seen any rookies pop out on, let's actually just check. I want to check one guy. Liam O'Connell was a guy that got mentioned somewhere. I think it was on a wing for St Kilda, but they have so many wingers, and Mason Wood is to come back soon, so we'll see about that one and see how that role, develops if it does. Midfield is probably ever changing. I feel like this is probably what it's going to, what I would say it would look like at the moment. Dawson, Sarong, they looked pretty good in their games. And then probably just going straight down. I don't feel like there's a need to go for a Rosie at the moment. And that also dramatically helps in terms of round 12 as well. 1, 2, 3, 4. I could even go from a Dawson to the likes of a who am I thinking? A Bont. And that would, if I found the cash somewhere, which is quite easy to find. And that would give the round 12 a little bit more, but also it's a really good point that, I can actually maneuver the side a little bit. You would see a lot of round 15, but I feel like that's interchangeable, as well as the fact that the round 15, round 16, a lot of these guys you can move on very, very easily. I feel like in the buys you can move them on because they've got that back end buy. So that's the reason behind that. 2 in round 13, not the worst. So I think that's a pretty well set up backline. Whole team in terms of buy structure, which is good. I did think about, and I would, if English was on like a round 15 buy, I probably would be going for him over a Gorn. It's just this round 12 double up here in the ruck that I'm like, I don't think I like it that much. But we'll see in the practice games how it all goes. But Cherry is 54% ownership, and it's a tough one. Even though you don't really want to look at ownership, it's a tough one to go against such a high ownership. If a player is in the 20s and 30% ownership and you're still a little bit hazy on them, that's when I'm like, okay, that's an ownership that I can fade. But if it's up in the 50s and 45, 50%, that's when I'm like, I don't think I want to try and go against it. Because if we look at the Nick Dacos at 25%, I'm still happy to fade that, even though he did a really good practice game, I'm still hazy on, I think Bedford will probably tag him or at least run by him, and that'll be tough. Port Adelaide, I think he still gets a tag there or a run with roll by someone, and I just want to look at the numbers for you and the reason why I guess I'm fading him in a way, I guess. Let's just look at Dacos here. And so, I think a lot of people will probably overreact just fractionally. So if we look at this, first up, he's got GWS. If we look at GWS, he averages 98 against them, 3 tons, but no 120. So no big scores, or 111 against them last year in opening round. If we look at Port Adelaide, the next team, he averages 90 against them, 95, 86. So shows that he hasn't really, doesn't really get as much of it. And then he's got, who else after that? He's got the Western Bulldogs, which I'm pretty sure it goes big against. Let's actually check that. Nope, 95 with a max of 112. 112, 110, so he actually does all right against them last couple of years. And then he's got the bye into Carlton and Sydney. And those two are really a couple of teams that he struggles against. Last year against Carlton, he went a 107, which isn't the worst. And then against Sydney last year, he went an average of 97, which included a heavy tag game in the second one. And in the first one, he kind of got off the leash a little bit, but it didn't matter in the end in round 1 because Sydney came out winners there. So in the end, So, and he probably will cop attention, I feel like, against Sydney as well again. So whether it be a full tag or just sort of attention, he's copping it in the first couple of weeks. And then he's got Brisbane after that. And Brisbane, he actually does all right against, averages 106, 116, 101 last year, average of 108. So I don't think he'll go completely off the chain per se, but he could average 105, 110, which is probably just going to put him at an effective average of around what he's priced at. But then you just get him in round 7 is just the theory I've been going off the last couple of weeks. And that will be off of probably, hopefully a Never and a rookie at that point, maybe. We'll see about that though, as they probably need to generate 200k each by that point in 6 rounds, which can be tough, but we'll see how that goes. And then Cherry Gorn, we talked about that. McRae, Sanders, Smith, Daniel is very, very common. And then you have this rookie line here. And so when I say that I'm confused, it's more so because it's more so with these rookies and mid prices, I would say. So I'm confused with this D6. Well, I said Bo Allen's. Bo Allen will probably end up D6, but I'm not 100% certain on that. And D78, obviously not set. M6, I'm confused on who necessarily gets to start there. You have O'Driscoll, who's probably going to be a winger, which wingers are very volatile. You probably want the rookie price wingers rather than the mid prices. Never can he get a run in that midfield. We won't know yet. Sheldrick's looked all right, but he hasn't looked outstanding. And I'm pretty sure there's another couple there. Layla's tracking. He's in doubt for round one, I would put at this point. And so there's that problem as well. Hugo Garcia, does he get an actual on-ball role in season, or was that just sort of a let's test this out in a practice game? And then Elijah Hewitt's going to, I hope, end up at F6, but we'll see about that. And then you've got Angrove and Stone. Angrove on a wing looked really good, and that's probably why I want him over like a nod, because there's 160k difference between them, and that is 16 points, and they could generally do almost the same. And then you've got Connor Stone, who looked all right but didn't look fantastic, I would say, in the Sydney practice game. But he's still going to make cash. And then you've got Curtin down here as well. And I'm also confused about Horn Francis. And the thing about him is, so we went 99 in the Indigenous All-Stars game, which is all right. It's plus 10. But we know that he absolutely smashed it in that game, was second best on ground in that game. Then he goes in the practice game and scores a 72, I want to say, or a 75, something about that, which he looked pretty good in that, and was taking a lot of marks in that game as well. If you actually take those two and combine them, that's 171 in 7 quarters. That's roughly about 97 and a half a game. So he's about plus 8, but he's looked really good in those games. What about when he gets cops attention and stuff like that, and he really struggles in one game and stuff like that? So it is intriguing because he does have Collingwood, who probably that's a good fixture. Richmond, that's a good fixture. Essendon, probably a good fixture. He's probably got the fixtures to start the year. I just don't know if there's necessarily value per se, just because he's more of an impact player. So that'll be definitely one that I'm weighing up to start the year and trying to find maybe cash from does Bailey Smith potentially perform in round 0 enough that it means that I can go against Jason Horne-Francis? Or do I just sort of find the way around it to get a Jason Horne-Francis in for a Bailey Smith and then start it that way and fade Bailey Smith because his wing on ball roll could be a little bit volatile? So that's sort of probably the only confusion I would say with this forward line is the Bailey Smith versus Horne-Francis debate. I feel like confident in the other guys there and going with the other guys. But we'll see about that, as I think Bailey Smith is 70% owned. So maybe it is going against Sanders at that point. Maybe, I don't know exactly. But I feel like you can't have a 5-strong forward line in a McRae, Sanders, Smith, Daniel, and then Horne-Francis without sacrificing too much in the midfield. That's kind of where the video lies, I guess, in a sense, of just the confusion with the defender lines, rookies dropping like flies at least, but at least we get the team list that on full round 1 before everyone plays, that at least you'll get an hour or so to sort of realise where the rookies sit, I think, to a certain extent. But also the darn Sub could stuff them up, which it'd be great if they just went back to 4 on the bench with no sub. That would be great, but it is what it is. But yeah, I think that's where I sit. I think I'm pretty confident in a lot of these mid prices to at least do something. But yeah, as I said, there's a lot of interchangeable parts, but I've also gone back to a fully blank team at times, and I'll probably do that and just sort of plug in some players and see how it goes. But yeah, that's sort of my thoughts and feelings at the moment. But anyway, if you did enjoy that video, remember to like and subscribe, turn the notification bell on so you know when I upload. And if you are listening on Spotify, give me a follow and a rating over there, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye guys.